Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. I'm Lawrence President, and my co-host is Teddy Covers, and we got an absolute ton of betting information ahead for you guys. We got Ralph Michaels at the top of the show. He's going to take a look at the Milwaukee-St. Louis baseball game. He's also got a bet for us in college football, a Saturday game on SMU, and a chart in college football that you guys definitely want to see. Kyle Anthony is joining us after that. He's got a couple of UFC bets, and Dave Mason will end the show. Teddy, tell us about Dave and what he'll be discussing.
Dave Mason from betonline.ag. He's going to talk about college football, NFL preseason, and a little bit of presidential politics as well. Where are the odds? Where's the money flowing? Really enjoyed our spot with him last week. We'll do it again today.
Excellent. And your big game breakdown, what's it going to be?
Big game breakdown. We got Paul Skeen starting today for the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll break down his start against Cincinnati in big game breakdown. And we'll talk about MLB totals in general and some surprising things from this August when it comes to what bettors learn.
There we go. What a show. Stay with us, everyone, all the way to the end. Make sure to hit that like button. What is Tokyo Brandon saying? Prez won't let me on the show, so I'll bother him in the chat. Ralph Michaels joining us, everyone. Ralph, welcome to Wager Talk Today. How are you? And happy anniversary. It's 10 years today. 10 years today that we became a company.
And I am a weirdo. So I went back to the database 10 years ago. Marco loaded the first play. You loaded the exact same play like 2 hours later. But the first sale at Wager Talk was Brian Leonard, not Marco, not Prez. Brian Leonard got the first actual sale at Wager Talk 10 years ago.
Wow. Did Marco and my play win?
I didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah. Speaking about speaking about winning, so I was on the Milwaukee Brewers last night, Ralph, in keeping with how my baseball season is going. We were up 5-2 at one point. We were up by 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth. Twice, yep. Lost that game. I think I just froze.
No, you're fine.
No, you're good.
Yeah, you're fine, Lawrence. Keep talking. Yeah, everybody. All right, Prez is frozen. I'll take over. Ralph.
I'm back. I don't know what happened there.
No. You're done now. Ralph, let's talk about the Brewers and the Cardinals.
Get rid of me.
If you had Milwaukee yesterday, you didn't enjoy that as the Brewers blew a pair of 2-run leads in that game. You didn't like it real much if you had the under in that contest either, as shenanigans and extra innings created runs in bunches. These two teams meet again in early start action today. Daytime baseball in St. Louis. Break it down for me, Brewers and Cardinals.
Prez, I was with you. I was on Milwaukee yesterday as well. So I have a vengeance, and I'm pissed, and I'm going to come back. For those that don't know, this is how it went. Into the 9th inning, it's 6-4. The Brewers pitcher hits a batter, gives up a double, walks the next runner to load the bases, and then walks 2 freaking runs in a row in the 9th inning to tie the game. In the 10th inning, man on second, intentional walk, gives up a walk, and gives up a grand slam. So that is 6 walks in the last 2 innings to lose that game. That is a frustrating loss. But I look at these two teams, and they are complete opposites as far as current form. The last 7 games, St. Louis 2-5, the Brewers 6-1. The last 30 games, St. Louis 12-18, the Brewers 19-11. You look at Milwaukee, they're also 11-2 their last 13 games since August the 2nd. They've been poor against lefties, only going 1-5. They happen to be facing a righty today. They are 11-2 their last 13 games versus a right-handed starter, and their 2 losses were both as a dog, and they're averaging 5.7 runs per game against righties in that stretch. St. Louis, again, 2-7 since August the 10th. Their average line has been a favorite. So that is minus 58% ROI. And the Cardinals, after a win, they have only gone 7-15 in that stretch. Mikolas has been a train wreck. His last 3 starts in August, a 9.22 ERA, a 1.82 whip. He's allowed 14 runs in 13 2/3 innings. And Peralta, his numbers on the road better than at home. And when you look at his current form, his ERA on the road 3.55 versus 4.3 at home. His opponent batting average 218 versus 234. And one system to leave you on. If a team won at home after trailing in the 8th inning by 2 or more runs, when you exclude games as a huge favorite of minus 200 or more, they are 79-111. That's 42%, which is a minus 22% ROI. And if they are a dog after a walk-off win by 2+ runs after trailing by more than 8, they're 17-44, 27.9% as a home dog. That is minus 35.2 ROI. Brewers get the revenge win today.
So I love the stats. I love the breakdown. Conceptually, I'm with you. But here's my question, Ralph. Brewers bullpen blew multiple leads last night. Nobody's fresh in that pen today. Isn't this the kind of play that maybe you look at first 5 instead of full game because of the concerns about Milwaukee's bullpen today? And do you worry at all that St. Louis, who's underachieved, gets some momentum off the walk-off grand slam?
Most teams that come from behind are a walk-off win for that system, Teddy. So that's going to say no. Now, if I said if they won in extra innings, that would be a different parameter. First 5, I have no problems with that at all. Perhaps I should change my suggestion to half on the first half on the full game. So no problems with that issue. The bullpen getting used one game does not concern me. When a bullpen gets stretched for multiple games, that's when you have to be real leery. Their prior game, they didn't have to go deep into their bullpen. So a one-game bad stretch to me, I think these guys just try a little harder after the next day.
Ralph Michaels joining us, everyone. And Ralph, let's go straight into college football. SMU playing this Saturday. Their team total is 41.5. Are you going over or under?
I am going over. I like this SMU team, but they are really sort of a cliquish team. There's a lot of people that I've talked to that are on SMU. They're in the 3rd year of their system. They averaged 30.5 points per game the entire season last year. Preston Stone is a quality quarterback, 3,200 yards, a 28-6 ratio. SMU returns their top 3 running backs, their top 5 wide receivers. When you look at them last year, when they were a favorite of minus 14 or more, they went 7-0 straight up, 6-1 against the spread, and they averaged 53 points per game and 518 yards per game. Last year, you may say, well, in the opener against La Tech, they only scored 38 points. I'm going to point out that last year when they played La Tech in game number 1, they had a road game against Oklahoma on deck. Now they only have a home game against Houston Christian on deck. When I went to the database back to 2008, favorites of minus 14 or more in game 1, away favorites of minus 20 or more in game 1 of the season have averaged over 40 points per game. And in game 1, when a team is top 500 yards, they are 72% against the spread and 69% over under, averaging 42.7 points per game. And if that team is a huge favorite on the road game 1, they've actually gone 78% against the spread and 76% over under. Now, you can't quantify and say, well, SMU's a good offensive team, and those numbers are only valid if they get to 500 yards. Let me tell you, last year, they topped 500 yards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 5 of their games. And again, this is a much better offense than last season. Give me SMU team total over 41.5.
So I had them, with 7 road games last year, Ralph, and they went over this total once. Does that worry you at all? When you talk about the goal for that killer mentality, that just when you're up by 4, this is the type of game, in order to feel comfortable with this over, when they're up by 4 touchdowns, they got to be pushing to go up by 5 touchdowns. You know what I mean? It's got to be, does SMU have that killer mentality?
No, I think they do, Teddy. But you've got to remember, last year was so much different. Playing in the AAC, excuse me, their first 2 road games were at Oklahoma and at TCU. That type of stretch against quality teams early changes the way you look at the dynamics for the entire season. Now they open up against a non-conference foe as a huge favorite. Total different dynamic. 3rd year of a coach, have an experienced quarterback with the experienced skill players behind them. I don't mind SMU having them to score 6 touchdowns this game.
Ralph, before we get into your chart, which is college football related, let's give out the promo for our 10-year anniversary. This promo starts today, August 22nd, and it runs all the way through to Sunday, August 25th. Basically, long story short, we call it the fill your cart promo. So whatever package you want, doesn't matter how many you want, Teddy's NFL season, my NFL season, Ralph's college football season, a couple of baseball plays, some CFL, whatever you want, put it in your cart and use the promo code 10-year. 10-year. Yes, Ralph?
The only correction I want to make, Prez, is it could be any daily package or any all-access, all-sport package. So a 3-day, a 7-day, a 30-day, a 90-day, or a 12-month.
So with not football, the individual sports.
Right. We have an NBA super early bird special. So if you took advantage of those earlier specials, you can't use the fill your card for a sports season. But dailies and any all-access package, 3 days or longer.
Yeah, and you guys get 30% off. So 30% off any daily package, weekly, monthly, or seasonal package. Teddy's face suggests that he wants to speak, but who knows with Teddy? He's so miserable.
Well, it's important to say, you said it was 10-year, Lawrence. Is that with the number or with the write out TEN?
10. 10 year. I don't know why Dan doesn't have the graphic up, but that's a whole different story. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Good job, Dan. Good job, Dan. And better half is mocking the way I say you're. Okay, whatever. I can live with that. I wasn't born in North America. I have a slight accent. What do you want from me, people? Ralph, college football chart. Fill us in.
Prez, what did you say? You know what? As you said that, I'm gonna send a note to the office to make sure TEN year works as well. Just for anyone that do it, they have that code. So,
good idea.
You guys, let's just start with the basics. Okay, it's college football. I've done some charts with week ones and some big favorites and all that, but football's here. So let's just do the basics to make sure our viewers understand week one of college football. Dan, if you would. This chart, it doesn't get simpler, guys. On the top, college football game number 1, home favorites. On the bottom, college football game number 1, away favorites. So if we look at the home favorites on the top in the blue, you see that the previous 4 years, they went 50% or better. Last year, they went 47.1%. So in the last 5 years, excluding the COVID year, home favorites game 1 are 53%. So nothing you're going to bet on, nothing that you don't have to worry about playing against. But take a look at the bottom. You guys see, I apologize for that typo. if you see the 5-7 ATS record, that is not 71.7%. It is 41.7%. But the 5-7 ATS number is correct. So if you look at the last 5 years, away favorites game number one, in 2019, they were 50% over under. Take a look at the poor performances for the other 4 seasons. So to me, again, home favorites are fine. Be leery of playing those away favorites in game number one.
So I got to ask you, you talked about a team total for road favorite SMU in week 1. That kind of, I mean, you're not asking them to cover the point spread, but you're asking them to score points in bunches, which in theory, if they go over their team total, they're likely to cover. Doesn't that kind of go against the chart?
Yes and no, Teddy. I'm going to tell you one more thing in a minute. If you bet every under since 2018 in game number one, you have actually covered 54.2%. So game number ones in college football have been unders. But again, this is a different situation. And as I mentioned, game number one away favorites of 20 or more, Teddy, have scored over 40 points per game. So that puts me in the covering range in that big role. So again, I'm just taking all away favorites here in this situation. But being a 20-point away favorite is very unusual. We're going to see it in the next graphic when I just wanted to go through some of the big favorites, how few there have actually been. So, Dan, if we could see chart number 2, the college football game number one big favorites. So this is the same time period since 2018, excluding the COVID year. Away favorites are on the top. There's only been 25 away favorites. They've gone 41 and 7% of -10 or higher. There have only been 6 away favorites versus FBS teams of -17 and higher. They've gone 3 and 3 against the spread. In the blue in the middle are home favorites, -10, -17, -24, -30. You see that they're all 50% or better. But I mentioned this a few weeks back, guys. Take a look at the very bottom. When an FBS team is playing an FBS team as a double-digit favorite in game number one. A double-digit favorite against FBS foes, 58%. -17 or higher, 56%. -24 or higher, 56.5%. And FBS teams, game number one is a 30-point favorite versus an FBS foe, 67% against the spread since 2018.
Ralph
So
Michaels, I write to Teddy, you going here? He writes no. And then he goes.
Yeah, it's true. Ralph, what do you have to promote, my friend?
Again, you can't beat anything than fill your cart. You know, we've had some fill your carts for 15%. We've had some 20%. We have never offered 30% on fill your cart. Even if you just use it off a daily package each of the next 4 days, thank you for being with us. Any part of this period of Wager Talk over the last 10 years, you're the reason we're in business. You're the reason we have quality shows like this, quality videos like we do. Thank you for being a customer at Wager Talk.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you, Ralph. And guys, yeah, really, I mean, 10 years, I cannot believe how far we've come, but listen, we got to keep the show moving. We can't have a pat on your back show today. What do you want, Teddy? What do you want to interrupt now? Go ahead. Two old men trying to quit
the official
smoking.
date, quote, Wager Talk first start operation August 24th. So those first plays that were loaded and sold were actually August 24th, not August 22nd. This is our
and had you have continued weekend. And had you have continued in reading in Slack, you would have read that I wasn't going to correct Ralph, and it didn't matter that we were 2 days off. Two old men trying to quit smoking. Oh God, what could go wrong? Teddy, what did bettors learn last night?
So I want to talk about MLB totals because it's kind of an interesting thing that's going on right now that we don't usually see in August. Tuesday, every single total on the board, 9 or lower. 14 of the 15 were 8.5 or lower. And it went, 8 and 7 to the under, including Prez's bad beat over where the Yanks Guardians were 3-3 into the 12th. But still more unders than overs cashed. Wednesday, one game lined at 9, a 3-0 final, the Johnny Cueto special. Every other game, 8.5 or lower. And again, it wasn't like we're seeing a run of unders or a run of overs. The totals are simply lower. Look at today's card in MLB. There's a 9/8.5 on the board. Everything else, 8.5 or lower. That's like a decade ago numbers. These are not what we're used to seeing in terms of totals for August. Now, some of this is venue. There are no games at Coors, no games at Fenway, no games at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. But this isn't a short-term kind of thing. Last weekend, Saturday and Sunday, all right, teams combined to score 3.4 runs per game and hit 231. You know, there were 60 team games, 30 Saturday, 30 Sunday. 3 or fewer runs were scored in 38 of them. I cashed an over last night with Yankees Guardians. The handicap was wrong, but the result worked out fine. That said, there are lots of August. I'm playing overs every day. I'm playing 20, 30, 40 overs during the month, maybe more. One of my favorite months for overs because this is where the pitching staffs really wear down. What's changed? Pitching staffs carrying 7 or 8 relievers don't wear down the same way they did with 5 or 6 relievers. And that is a huge difference in MLB 2024 versus a decade or 2 decades ago. Worth noting how low these totals are for August. That said, I got an over that I'm going to talk about in about 10 minutes from now when it comes to big game breakdown. Not like you can't play overs, but we're not playing a whole lot of overs at this time of the year, at least not this season. Lawrence?
Teddy, Kyle Anthony joining us. I'm keeping the show moving along. We do have one of our listeners that asked, how's the not smoking going? Kyle, why don't you join us, man? Puff down about 100 cigarettes today, and then tomorrow you could quit with Teddy and I.
No, the only smoking I do is going to be the marijuana type. But aside from that, or a cigar. But besides for that, that's about it.
Cigars are the most vile and repulsive things ever. I've tried so hard. I have given it my all. I have gone to Cuba, smoked a cigar that was rolled in front of me by the hands of 17 virgins. Revolting. Revolting. I mean, whoa. Okay, whatever. Teddy, you're a cigar guy?
No. So cigarette smokers don't, cigars, it doesn't work. It's
Two
a different
breeds.
smoke. Yeah, it's a different smoke. And if you're used to smoking cigarettes, you don't want cigars. Cigars don't work for you. So I'm not surprised that Lawrence is all grossed out by
Dan
it.
Alexander says that cigar. Dan Alexander says cigar smoke tastes like ass. I agree. Not that I've tasted ass. One of those stupid cliches that make no sense. But I'm thinking if ass tasted like anything, it'd probably be a cigar. Okay, dude, let's get into it. Ciao Borello. I like that name. Against Jared Cannonier. Where are we going in this fight? And it's Saturday night, right?
Yep, this is going to be the main event of the evening on Saturday. It's going to be Caio Borralho versus Jared Cannonier. Now, Caio, he has one path here, and it's really going to be looking to wrestle, look to get the takedowns, look to utilize his heavy wrestling approach, get the cage pushing, get him down, utilize his black belt in jiu-jitsu, and really look for those finishes. And that's been a path for him here. And the big thing here, and, this line continues to widen here. And the big thing here is that Jared Cannonier is a big step up in competition for Caio here. And this is a spot where Cannonier is going to be the better striker. I think he's also going to have really good takedown defense as well. And when you really look at it here, the people that Caio has beaten are very low level. He's 6-0 in the UFC, but he's beating guys like, Mikhail and Jacek, Abus Magomedov, Paul Craig. I mean, these guys are definitely on the lower level side. And if you add the last 3 fights for each of those fighters, they're 2-6. So a lot of guys are beating those guys. We've got Cannonier, who really has fought the top level guys since since 2017. And I do believe the reason why this line is a little bit off is because you've got Cannonier one. He's 40 years old. And I think that's going to be something that you're looking at where, 9-year age gap is definitely going to be favoring the younger guy. But this is going to be in the apex age. And I think that there are going to be opportunities here where you're going to see Cannonier find success. You're going to see close rounds. You're going to see him being able to defend some of the takedowns. And I do think that's going to really work out well for him in certain spots. Now, where I'm going with my play really goes into the side of Jared Cannonier is a tough guy to put away. And you look at his over his career, 7 losses, 4 by decision, 3 by knockout. So this is a guy that over his career is tough to put away. He was put away recently against Nasruddin Imavov, but kind of was an early stoppage kind of situation there, but he did get the finish. And then the last time he was finished prior to that was 2018 against Dominic Reyes. And also, you've got to add in that Cannonier has never been submitted. So this is a situation where Kyle, I don't think is going to be able to get the finish on the feet. I don't think he's going to be able to get the finish on the ground, but he can win positionally over the 5 rounds here. So I do like Kyle, but I think that he gets the job done via points here, and it's a juicy number at plus 210. And over the 6 fights that he's had in the UFC, he's only had 2 finishes, and they were both lower level guys. I think this step up in competition will make it competitive, and Kyle will get the nod in the via points here. So plus 210, I like that number.
Kyle Anthony joining us, and Kyle, let's keep that image back on the screen for a second. Did this guy have his child write "fight or die" on his arm and then go get it tattooed? What does it say on his neck? The spirit? I mean, are those Chinese symbols? Do they mean huge douchebag? Like in English? What is going on with that guy? And I have tattoos. Like, I'm all tatted up. I'm not against tats.
There's in MMA, in MMA, you see some of the worst tattoos out there. So, but I don't think anyone wants to tell them differently when they see them. But yeah, you see a lot of strange tattoos, though.
Yeah, I mean, the fight or die. Go ahead, Teddy.
Yeah. Tell him to his face that his tattoos aren't of your liking, and see how that works. Let's talk about the second fight.
Let's go. Can you get him on the show?
Sure.
No, I'm not bringing him. I'm bringing this guy on.
Shabayazin versus Gerald Meishert. Talk to me about this one. You think we might have a live underdog on the undercard Saturday night? Yeah,
so we got Edmund Shabazian here. He is minus 300 on the comeback. We have Gerald Meishert here. He's plus 245. Now, this is the spot here where you look at Edmund Shabazian. I mean, this kid has finishing ability. He's a good striker. He's got smooth combinations, good accuracy, and he is that guy that in that first round, he can go out there and get the job done. But you look at even just his career, 13 professional wins, 11 by knockout, 1 by submission. So this guy is going to be looking to really find a lot of success on the feet. Now, the reason why I think this line is pretty wide is due to the fact that Meishert is now 36 years old. He really struggles getting takedowns, and that is his path. He's definitely a high-level grappler, but doesn't have the wrestling and struggles to get the fight to the ground. Out of, he's got a 38% takedown success rate, not the greatest if that's where you want to take the fight to the ground and find those submission finishes here. He's got 36 victories, 28 by submission. So again, that's a high win probability for him if he can get the fight there. Now, with that being said, Edmund Shabazian at minus 300 has massive hold in his game, and I think this line is definitely wide when you're looking at it here. And the first thing here is Edmund is a front runner. As I said, he's a first-round finisher. He's a guy that goes for it early, will push the pace. 12 finishes, 11 of them came in the first round. But he's a good hammer. When things are going his way, he can throw big shots. He can move forward. He feels that comfort zone. But when things start really kind of going against him and he's facing adversity, he struggles. He starts to wilt. He starts to give way. He's 2-4 out of his last 6. The 4 that he lost to were basically just guys who would wrestle him and beat him up on the ground. His 2 victories are against Delcher Ligambua, who's 0-4 run, and also AJ Dodson, who's on a 1-3 run. So it's not that he's beating these high-level guys and then he's getting mashed out by other guys when you're looking at it. And then lastly here, the two big red flags here that I think that are on the Shabazian side is he has absolutely terrible cardio. I mean, his cardio falls off a cliff after round one. And I do think that's why he is such a front runner, where he's going to look to push forward. He's going to look to throw a lot of shots. But after that first round, the movement, the explosiveness, the combinations, everything starts to go down. And that is where I think if Meerschaert can survive that first round and just do enough to just get out of it, that second round and third round, if it gets there, he has a good chance to really get the job done. And then also Shabazian is not good on the ground. When he gets to the mat, he absolutely has no idea what he's doing. And Meerschaert is such a high-level grappler that I think if this is one takedown, and I think he can get the submission here. Yes, Edmund has a 63% takedown defense rate, but I do think that one takedown is all it's going to be here. So I like Meerschaert here. I think that the plus 245 number is good, maybe even a little sprinkle on the submission at plus 500, but I just do not agree with this number at all. I think minus 300 is absolutely wide here.
Kyle
Teddy.
Anthony says, look at the dog in the Shabazian Meerschaert fight on Saturday. Kyle, what do you have to promote? What's going on for you and your clients right now at WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, so we got this weekend, we have a 4% best bet play up, 3 plays right now. And, we're definitely continuing to cash in for clients, over 76 units of profit out of the 26 events that have happened for UFC this year. We've cashed 21 of them. So that's about an 81% win rate that we have per event. So we're feeling really good about it, and got plays up again this week, and ready to rock and roll.
Awesome stuff, Kyle. Way to go, man. Teddy, am I needed on this show, bro?
Day 2 without a cigarette. Those are fun.
I've done nothing. Teddy's like, I will
in the
close.
same category.
Teddy's like, I will close Kyle. And I respond with, is doing the what did bettors learn, the big game breakdown, and asking every single follow-up question not enough for you? Now you want to close the guests too? Okay. You know what, Teddy? Close them, open them, do everything. I'll just sit here, kick back, and chat with the people in the chat room. Go ahead. Big game breakdown. All you.
Let's do it. Big game breakdown. Let's talk some Thursday MLB. Look at the WagerTalk live odds screen right now. 6:40 Eastern time. First pitch, 3:40 here on the left coast. I'm seeing the Pittsburgh Pirates. Only minus 135, minus 140. Total 7.5 against the Cincinnati Reds. And that's with Paul Skeens on the hill. Skeens obviously has been as ace gets in his rookie season for Pittsburgh. But now we're starting to see he's thrown a few more innings, getting towards the innings limit that we thought he was going to have this season, reaching what, he hasn't got more than 6 in any of his last 4 starts. And we're starting to see the second looks against Skeens. We saw a second look against Skeens for the Dodgers 2 weeks ago, and the Dodgers hit him pretty good, 4 runs in 6 innings of work. Reds have seen him once already. I'm expecting the second look at Skeens to be at least somewhat better than the first. And of course, Cincinnati scoring runs. They rallied from a 6-0 deficit to beat Toronto last night. They've averaged more than 5 runs per game over the last 2.5 weeks. This is not an offense that can hit. On the other side of the equation, and of course, it's worth noting, his last start against Seattle, the quote from manager Derek Shelton after the game, it didn't look like he was in sync with his delivery throughout the entire game. He was still able to give us a good start and give us a chance to win. But that, to me, is something of a red flag. And, of course, Skeens, 9-7 to the over in his 16 starts or more, 8 runs or more in all of those overs. On the other side of the equation, look, Pittsburgh hasn't hits. That's fine. I get it. It's a scuffling lineup on a consistent basis. But Nick Lodolo's not a trustworthy hurler right now, coming off his worst outing of the season, 8 runs, 8 hits, and 2 1/3 against Kansas City last Saturday. 6-3 to the over in his last 9 starts. The 7 was the opener last night. We're seeing 7.5s right now. Skeens starts taking wise guy over money. That's all you need to know. Let's join them. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, over 7.5. And there's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Oh my God, I get to talk. So Teddy, I'm on the same play. I love the over in the Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game as well tonight. My analysis is up. It's a free pick. Head over to WagerTalk and check that out. So, yeah, good job, dude. Let's bring Dave Mason and keep the show moving along. Dave, apologies ahead of time for dealing with two old grumpy men, both trying to quit smoking. We're pretty much ready to murder each other.
No.
Welcome to the yeah. Okay, Teddy, what now?
Thanks for having me, guys. A few years back about 15 years when I was first started this industry, I had two coworkers who couldn't quit smoking, so they just bet each other head to head who would last longest. And I think they bet for like $1,000, and one quit for the rest of his life. The other guy went back to it. But maybe you guys should try that, man. Who lasts longer? Put some money.
I don't want to do, Dave. I don't want to do that because I'm literally cheering for Teddy. Firstly, I don't want Teddy's money, and secondly, I'm cheering for the guy. Like I'm
cheering for both of you.
Thanks, dude. Teddy.
Well, the other thing that you're missing, Lawrence, is that like you started 6 weeks after me. So we're in a different place right now. I feel confident that I'm not going to have a cigarette today, and I'm not sure you have that same level of confidence,
No.
That being said,
Teddy, I'm feeling good.
I got the gun right here.
Teddy,
good.
I'm feeling good, man. Like, honestly, it's about staying away from my car. If I could just stay away from my damn car.
Yeah, car and phone are the biggest triggers, but let's not talk about triggers when we're both not trying to have a cigarette. Let's instead try to get some actionable and interesting information from our guest, Dave Mason from betonline.ag at Dave Mason. What's your Twitter handle, Dave? I apologize. I just forgot it.
Yeah, no worries. At Dave Mason BOL.
Yeah, at Dave Mason BOL. He has an excellent follow on Twitter. Dave, let's talk about week 3 of the preseason first before we get into some college football. And when it comes to week 3 of the preseason, does the public bet any preseason? This all just pure wise guy money? And anything stand out to you from the betting patterns that we've seen early in the week? Or are we really expecting a lot of the money to come once coaches actually announce their game plans over the course of the next 24 hours?
we see action. It's football, right? So it's going to get action. It's disproportionate towards sharp action, right? I mean, the real public stuff doesn't come piling into when it really counts, the NFL regular season. But no, there's good action on the games. But the sharps are all over it. Like Pittsburgh -6 this weekend, now 6.5. San Francisco 3 or better, that's -6. Giants -1.5, that's 2.5. Green Bay -1.5, I believe that's 3 right now. So, sharps are all over the board. But then again, we keep the limits a little lower too, so we don't get banged up too much. But it's a grind for us to book, but it's good. And it also tells us, football's here. So, the big stuff's coming in 2 weeks. Actually, this weekend with college football, next weekend with the bigger college football, and then of course 2 weeks from now from the NFL. So we love it.
So when it comes to these preseason lines, it just feels to me like a lot of times, not you in particular, but the betting markets, the openers for these preseason games, just kind of someone throwing a line out there and then just waiting for the action to come or waiting for the info to come to force the action. Priya, how do you make these preseason lines? You can't do it based on how good the teams are with these power ratings. It feels like there's all these games lined just shy of 3 at the open. Is it kind of, let's throw something out there and just let them start betting? We're not going to worry too much about our openers for this because the limits are low?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's not as exact science. The NFL regular season, it's so easy. It's the easiest thing that we do. It's the most important thing. It's the biggest thing, but it's also the easiest thing. It's so easy to make those lines. But NFL preseason, of course, so many more factors going. Who the hell's playing? How long they're going to be playing for, and you have to dig for for information more, but you keep the limits lower, and yeah, a lot of it's just it's nowhere near as an exact science. I mean, you said it best. Kind of throw it up there and see what let the sharp shape the market, and then go from there.
Dave Mason joining us, everyone, from Bet Online. And Dave will be with us every Thursday throughout the football season, which is really exciting. We got Dave Sherpan coming back. We got Art DeCesar. So we're slowly going to be filling in spots with bookmakers. And it's really, really interesting information. Dave, we got 4 college football games going this week. Some big lines here. Hawaii, for instance, minus 40.5. SMU minus 24.5 to 25. Every game on the board is a double-digit favorite or dog, depending on how you look at it. What type of action are you taking? Have you seen anything we need to hear about? And do you personally like any of these 4 games?
What are we taking here? I mean, the 2 bigger games, the SMU Nevada and FSU Georgia Tech, action is a lot better on those 2 games. Those are the 2 bigger games on the market. As far as overall action, overall money, it's close to 50-50. It's pretty choppy right now. We really don't have a big decision on it right now. Sharps, we did see some sharp action. Let's see, we got Georgia Tech plus 12.5 or more. They're currently getting 10 versus FSU. Also a little bit on under 56.5 there. And Nevada plus 27. That got hit by some sharp action and 2-way sharp action on that total. But yeah, more of the action will be piling in as Saturday gets closer tomorrow. And of course, Saturday, all hell will break loose. But next week will be the big one.
Yeah. Teddy?
Yeah, I mean, does all hell break loose on this 4-game card? Or is this weekend just a little precursor? I mean, in terms of handle.
Yeah, I wouldn't say all hell breaks loose. If there are, it'll be good. It'll be good. Those 2 games will get really great action, but still a lot of people will be on the sidelines waiting for next week when there's more marquee games and there's whatever dozens upon dozens of games to bet on. But they'll get very good action, but they won't get that incredible action until next week.
So we got just a few minutes left here with Dave Mason from betonline.ag. Follow him on Twitter at Dave Mason, BOL. Dave, I want to shift back to the NFL, but I want to talk a little bit about the futures marketplace right now.
Okay.
When it comes to here in the preseason, have we seen any big moves on season win totals, for example? And I want to talk about the Minnesota Vikings in particular, a team that just lost who might have been their starting quarterback, and J.J. McCarthy. Now it's going to be Sam Darnold. Because that to me is fascinating, because has that affected Minnesota's futures in any way? Are people betting on the Vikings because they're going to have the veteran QB or against them?
Really, really not much of a move at all on any of the futures. Maybe a blip here and there. The action's been the same. J.J. McCarthy is doing some good things. High hopes on him, but the thing is, he's still a rookie, and he didn't even have guaranteed the starting job locked down. So, not much of it. Not much of a move at all in the numbers nor the betting action. Some bigger moves on the NFL win totals. Let's see, Falcons 10.5 to 9.5, and again, juice is involved here as well, but. For simplicity, I'm just going to talk wins. Ravens 11.5 to 10.5. Packers 10.5 to 9.5. The Fish 10.5 to 9.5. Steelers 7.5 to 8.5. Bucks 8.5 to 7.5. Titans 5.5 to 6.5. The Commanders 7.5 to 6.5. There's been some sharp action if you want to hear that. Carolina under 5.5 plus 125. That's now 5.5 plus 105. Cowboys under 10.5. minus 150. That's now minus 200. Seattle over 7.5 minus 115. That's now 7.5 minus 150. And the Eagles over 10.5 minus 115. That's now minus 155.
Wow. Lots of action. That's for sure. Almost every game moves all over the place. Guys, if you enjoy what you're hearing, please take a second out of your day and hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel as well. 165,000 subscribers. So let's get that up, please. Thank you. And in the future, when Dave and Art and Dave Sherpan are on, if you guys have any questions, just let us know. I'm happy to read them out. We only have Dave for another minute or so. So, Dave, I want to get into the presidential election. Obviously, now it feels like it's a bit neck and neck between these two. With that said, we have had a Kamala bump. We now have a DNC bump. Where's the money going in this presidential race? Anything we need to know?
Yeah, Kamala did have a bump. It's come back now. Actually, Trump is a very small favorite right now. He's minus 115, and Kamala's a minus 105. The money still, we still need Trump as this moment. Kamala's a loser. Trump's a winner. The win on Trump is about 3 times more than the loss on Kamala. So yeah, so I think that's going to even out more. So I think that will even out more. You know, we finally got the grade with the Democratic National Convention going on now. We finally got to grade the Democratic nominee and the vice president nominee. And Waltz was a loser for us, but Kamala was a winner. So we did all right there. But yeah, man, the action doesn't stop. You know, we have our limits at $10,000, and they'll increase. But we have tons of max bets, and something interesting comes in every day.
I was just going to ask you that, Dave. Is this the general public making these bets, or are there, a lot of well-respected, wise bettors making these bets? Because what did you say? It's 3-1 for Kamala right now.
The win on Trump is 3 times bigger than the loss on Kamala. For us, absolutely.
Right.
I'm just talking about our liability. So we're Trump. Right, yeah,
I know.
Right now we're rooting for Trump. So yeah. But a lot of that, some of that money that came on in Kamala too, were at long odds too. It doesn't take a lot of action there. Right. It's long odds but I think the late money will come in on Trump. I mean, I don't know, man. This one's so hard to figure out. You know what I mean? The debate's gonna. That'll be interesting. And who else knows what's going to come up? But the action is just awesome. It's so fun. I hate politics, but the betting aspect of it makes it so damn fun.
Sure. The only time we're going to talk about politics on this show is how to bet it and who to bet on.
Exactly.
I know you want to talk physicians, policies.
That's right.
That's a different show. But from a betting standpoint, if you can bet on it, we're going to talk about it. Dave Mason, great segment again today. Really appreciate your time and effort. Tell folks what you have going at betonline.ag.
Yeah, man. Come on over to betonline.ag for the football season. Got a sign-up bonus there if you don't have a BetOnline account already. Also, we have a $300,000 NFL Survivor pool. It's only $30 to enter. Last year, we got that prize pool up to $421,000. So, you win it all. You can win at least $300,000. Of course, if there's ties, you split it, but there'll still be a nice chunk of money. We'll have a handicapping contest and all sorts of free contests throughout the season. Once again, come on over to betonline.ag.
There we go. Dave Mason, everyone. Outstanding. What a fun show, Teddy. I'm bummed it's over. Now I got to battle for the rest of the day. I am curious, Teddy, and obviously you and I are not going to discuss politics on air. But I'm curious what our listeners think. They hear us every day, and I'm curious what they think you are or I am. Do they think you're going to vote Democrat or Republican? You don't need to respond, but I'm curious what they think about our thoughts. Anyway, guys, make sure to take advantage of that promo that we're offering. It's really, really great promo. Fill your cart. You use the promo code 10 and YEAR. That's 10 YEAR, YEAR. You save 30% off of anything that you want that you can put in your cart that is a all access pass. So a daily, weekly, monthly, or seasonal. This goes until Sunday. Theodore, we got another show tomorrow. I look forward to it. Take us home.
Oh, it should be so much fun, Lawrence. I can't wait. That's going to wrap it for the Thursday edition. Like Lawrence said, we'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Between now and then, enjoy the games and best of luck with all your bets.